Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson. You're watching Reality Survival. So today what I have for you is 30 tips for increasing your home security. Now what I've done is I've actually gone back and pulled some notes and some talking points from an old blog post that I did probably back in like 2012 or something like that. And I've updated it and added a few things to it. So as I go through this, I'll be taking a look at those notes, and I'll also be rolling in some pictures here, visual aids, trying to kind of show what I'm talking about and stuff like that, where it's needed or where it makes sense. But anyway, with that, let's go ahead and jump right into this. I'm going to start this off with a question. How would you rob your own home? Well, that is what law enforcement officers do when they think like this. Whenever they have to try to catch criminals, you got to think like a criminal to catch a criminal. Okay, so what you should do as a prepper, somebody who's interested in having good security at your home, is you need to go through the process of doing a criminal or a vulnerability assessment of your home. And what you do essentially is you take a look at your home and you try to imagine, what things can be exploited by criminals if they needed to be. And then after you've laid out all those things of potential areas, things that could be exploited, then you try to, to increase your security. You try to remedy those things and reduce the number of vulnerabilities that exist. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and talk about a few of these tips, and the idea behind this is that, maybe it'll help spur some thought and, give you some ideas for increasing security at your place. Now, I don't think that these are going to be applicable for everyone. I obviously can't know your situation. It's really just common things that might be fairly easy to do and to improve security at a wide variety of a typical home, say. So the first thing, we're going to start with the exterior, and the first thing is lighting. Installing a combination of ground lighting, landscape lighting, as well as dusk to dawn lights. That is a good idea. Motion detecting lights can be good. And with solar landscaping lights, you can also use those in an emergency inside your house if the power goes out. So that's one thing there. Number two, infrared driveway alarms. Now that's kind of only a more narrow section of people whose driveways that might be suitable for. But if your driveway is laid out in such a way that it makes sense, then that can be a good thing as well. And if you don't know what those are, they basically are an alarm that when anybody crosses in between the two sensors, it lets you know that somebody's there and sets off an alarm in the house. So it's kind of cool. Number three is you want to take a look at eliminating trees or shrubs that could potentially provide unseen entry and egress into your property. At least the ones that are close to your home. And so essentially what that is trying to say is that you don't want to have trees and shrubs laid out in a manner that makes it easy for people to get up close to your house without you being able to see them. It's good to have some kind of standoff distance around your place so that you can kind of, especially with the lights that you've installed and stuff, you would be able to see out, see what's going on, all that kind of stuff. If you've got a whole bunch of shrubs and trees and all that kind of stuff, then it makes it easier for people to get in close unseen. That's also good from a tactical perspective anyway. Having some standoff distance is good from a tactical perspective too. Now the other thing that you can do, number five, looks like we may have skipped number four, is you also want to sorry, I just got confused here. Plant mean and nasty shrubs up close to the windows and that kind of thing. And so basically what that's doing is it's making it difficult for people to get up close to the windows to where they could smash through and then, and then get inside the house or whatever. On the same token, the next one, I'm going to number 6, is that you want to clear the shrubs and bushes away from your front door, so that or the door that you most typically use, so that they can't hide in those bushes or in those shrubs or anything like that, and wait basically to attack you, like when you're getting keys out, opening your door or whatever, and then pop out and kind of ambush you there. If you clear that stuff away and use more low-lying landscaping material or that kind of thing, then it's gonna give you a better sense of security, because you're not worried about anybody popping out, and being unseen essentially. Okay. The next one is use a good concealment device to hide your spare key well away from whatever door it is that you're using it for. A lot of people will put spare keys, just right up, up over the top of the door, or right up underneath your welcome mat, or in the little frog, ceramic pot sitting right here next to the door. And criminals know this, all right, and they know to exploit that. So, the thing that you're looking at here, the sprinkler head concealment device, is a pretty good one, because it goes down on the ground, it looks just like a sprinkler head, and it's also not going to be placed basically right there close to the door. Give it some separation to have a spare key hidden, just in case the kids get locked out or you get locked out or whatever the case may be. So that's another one. Number 8, if you have the opportunity to leave one vehicle parked in the driveway when you're not home, or if you're on vacations and stuff like that, then it's a good idea to do that. Even if it's if it's a situation where you have garages and stuff like that, if you're going to be away from the home, if you can pull one out, it's just one more indicator that makes it look like somebody's there. All right, the next one, make sure that, and I've done a video on this in the past, but make sure that your remote control garage door opener is stored out of sight in your vehicle. Okay, don't just have it on your visor or down on your console or something like that, because that gives criminals a very easy way to get in your home. They smash the glass on the side of the car, they grab the remote, and they go in the garage, open the garage, and they go in the garage, they close the door down, and then they can take their time getting in to your residence. So make sure that that's out of sight, and at least put away somewhere where they can't see it at a minimum. If not, bring it inside completely. Okay, the next one, number 10, have a real or fake security camera covering the main entrances of the home. Wireless kits are really easy to install and can be hooked into a DVR, so that you have footage. It records like in a loop basically, so that you'll have footage that you could show in court or anything like that if you did get broke into or robbed or whatever. Amazon's got some pretty good wireless ones and DVR sets, and they're just not that expensive to put in, and it's not the same thing as a full-blown security system where you have a monthly monitoring charge, so they're not a bad option. Okay, number 11, put an alarm company sign out front, and you don't necessarily have to have an alarm. You don't have to be paying that monthly fee. But you can go on eBay, you can go on to Amazon, stuff like that, and you can find fake alarm company signs. Or just signs, like this one that just say that, that you're under surveillance and all that kind of stuff. Those kinds of signs are big deterrents, and criminals are lazy, and they're always looking for the easiest possible target. If there's any doubt to them, they'll just go to the next house in most cases. Now, these security tips, I'm going to throw this out here, that I'm not necessarily saying that all of these are directly applicable to a grid down type situation. I think there are some different things that you could do for that. I'm talking about, these are 30 tips for increasing your security right now, right in the environment that we live in right now. Number 12, get an outside dog. And if you do that, consider some type of obedience training, related to being a guard dog, basically. But just a good outside dog that barks a lot is also a huge deterrent. Criminals don't like to deal with dogs if they don't have to. Okay, so let's switch to interior 13 is get an inside dog. Consider potty training if you're going to do that. A lot of people, if they have two dogs or whatever, they're always going to have an inside, or they're always going to either both be inside or both be outside, or whatever the case may be. If you offer a good dog house that has good insulation and shields it from the wind and all that kind of stuff, a good rugged dog like a Labrador or a German Shepherd, or whatever the case may be, they can live outside. They don't have to actually be inside dogs. So I recommend, the best practice would be to have one inside dog and one outside dog if possible. But I understand that that's for emotional reasons, that's difficult for some people. Okay, number 14 is deadbolts on all exterior doors, including the door that's coming in from the garage. This is an often overlooked one, and getting into garages is pretty easy. I've done another video on it showing where you can break into a garage in about 20 seconds with very limited tools. So making sure that you have a deadbolt that locks in a garage is a good one. Number 15, if possible, make sure exterior doors are steel case doors or at least solid hardwood. Construction standards vary from place to place, and a lot of doors are really not that difficult to break through. So having a really good steel door is something that I would recommend. Also, if even regardless of what you do or what kind of door you have, one of the biggest things that can increase door strength is installing a Door Devil steel door jamb. And I'll throw in a picture here of what those are. It's essentially a steel plate that goes and is screwed in multiple places so that it's a lot harder to kick in the door, because generally when you're kicking in a door, there's only just about 3/4 of an inch or so of pine wood that you end up having to break out to get the thing to open. But if you install one of these Door Devils, it's going to be a lot harder to kick it in. Okay, number 17 is cut a broomstick to fit in the door track of a sliding glass door. This is an old trick, been used by lots of people with sliding glass doors, but a lot of people just rely on the little lock, and that is not very strong. The glass is actually harder to break than you would think on sliding glass doors. That it's fairly difficult to do. Now, if they have the right tools and that kind of thing, it can be done. But that's going to make a lot of noise and a huge mess and all that kind of stuff. And if you can have that extra deterrent by having the a broomstick or something laying down inside the track so that it can't be opened, that really helps. Number 18, use a dual function security bar. Now, this is essentially just kind of like the old trick of putting a chair up against a doorknob and wedging it in there so nobody can get in. But this dual function security bar is made so that when they're pushing on the door, they're wedging that this bar down into the floor and making it harder to open. My grandparents had one of these all when I was growing up, and it seemed to work pretty well. Okay, number 19 is place a small bell just over the doorway so that it rings whenever the door is opened. Much like many businesses do, when you come in, there's a little bell that rings when you come in and out. A little bell may not sound like a whole lot, but if you've got dogs, it's definitely enough to wake your dogs up if they're inside the home or whatever. And it's also if you're a light sleeper, then we had one on my house, and which you guys can see here, and it was enough to wake me up and alert me who was coming in and out. It's also great if you've got young children and you want to be able to hear if they try to open the door to go outside without letting you know or anything like that. Number 20, during heightened times of security, place an audio-video baby monitor close to the most likely entrance or at 2 or more entrances, if you've got like a front and back door or whatever. If you're using more than one receiver, I recommend that you put the one by the front door, say next to you, and the one by the back door next to your wife. And the reason that is because if you know if it's possible, if you have somebody that lives with you, or just put them on the opposite sides of the bed, because if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're kind of disoriented and you've got two monitors sitting right next to each other, it might be easy to get confused on which door is which, thereby slowing down your response time. So just something to think about. Number 21 is keep your vehicle keyless entry fob, your little car fob, you know, the key fob that opens up the doors and stuff. Keep that right next to your bed, and that way you can activate the car alarm or car horn if you hear somebody trying to enter the home, and that could be enough to scare them off, you know, and it's at least going to get them very concerned, and they're probably going to leave if they hear that going on, because they just don't want that kind of attention. Okay, number 22. It almost goes without saying, but having an ultra bright flashlight, you know, something like this. This is the Phoenix TK22, an excellent light, by the way. Having something like that is really, really bright next to your, you know, on your nightstand or whatever, along with your weapon of choice in a safe or whatever next to your bed, is also highly recommended. I also keep a small, nice sized little bat. I basically use the Cold Steel Brooklyn Shorty, you know, right there next to my bed as well. That way, worst case scenario, somebody got into my bedroom and I wasn't able to access the safe in time, then I could at least grab the bat. Number 23, we're almost done here. A good loud whistle or a sports air horn is a great way to scare the crap out of people if they came into your home. It also serves a double purpose of waking up your family. You know, if you train them to let them know that, hey, if you hear this noise, this loud, you know, repeating noise in the middle of the night, you need to go to this room or go to the closet, or, you know, whatever your security plan is, then, you know, that can be a good thing. It can kind of get them, you know, to a safe place, but it can also let them know that something's happening, especially if you've got older kids, you know, who could be of assistance or whatever the case may be. Okay, number 24 is lower your phones, your home phone's ringer and answering machine volume. The reason is burglars can easily find your home phone number online or by digging through your trash. You know, there's just lots of different ways that people can get your phone number, and all they have to do is call it while they're standing close to the door. And if they don't hear you pick up the phone, they may think that you're not home and then go ahead and try to enter. Now, if you're like me, and if the volume is lowered, then they're not going to be able to hear it as well, and they may think they've got the wrong house, you know, whatever, and it's just going to basically turn them off to it. But if you're like me, I mean, we don't hardly ever answer our home phone, so, you know, that's another thing. But anyway, 25 is leave a radio and the lights on, you know, both inside and outside the home when you leave. Most homes that are broken into are dark homes with poor lighting, and many don't even lock their doors at all. So, you know, making sure that you leave a light or a radio on or something like that definitely helps. Number 26 is along the same lines. Use a light timer to automatically turn the lights on and off, especially when you're not home. But make sure to rotate those times so that it appears randomly at different places in the house. So if for example, the light goes off in this room, you know, maybe a minute later it turns on in this room. Something like that. Make it look realistic, essentially. The next thing is number 27, and that is install peepholes into the exterior doors. You know, having a peephole, being able to look out without them really seeing you, is a good thing to do, you know, before you just go and open the door without knowing who's there. Number 28, close the drapes nightly, and close the drapes that are on the street side during the day, so that thieves can't easily see into your home and see who's there and what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes that might be hard, especially if you have sun coming in a certain way and all that kind of stuff, but from a security perspective, it is best to do that. Number 29, if you have panes of glass that run along the vertical edges of your doors, you could consider installing a deadlock that can only be opened from the inside with a key. It's essentially a double cylinder deadlock. And this is kind of a controversial thing because it could potentially slow your exit during a fire or an emergency, situation where you're trying to get out of the house. So if you choose to do it, make sure that you hang the key, somewhere that's close but out of sight, so that you would always have the key right there and be able to get out of the house. It's just one thing to think about, but it is a possible solution because it's kind of difficult to change out that whole door frame if they've got the double panes of glass. It's expensive too. Number 30 is obviously if you can get a full-blown security alarm system when it's monitored by the company and they'll alert the police and all that kind of stuff. That is a great option to have as well. Some of them, are even hooked into the fire alarms and all that kind of stuff. Most of them are, I think. But you could also get like the SimpliSafe wired home security system, where you can choose to monitor it or not to monitor it, but you could at least install it in your home. That way it can set off the alarm, when somebody comes in at night after it's been set or whatever the case may be. So there's definitely a multitude of options out there in that regard. Anyway, guys, that is the list of 30 things, 30 tips for increasing your home security. I hope that it has at least given you some food for thought, on how you can apply these to your specific situation. I would definitely be interested to know what you guys think are the best, tips for increasing your home security. Obviously, having a good firearm, whether it be 12 gauge, 9mm, or AR-15 is at the top of the list as well. But these are kind of geared more towards things that you can physically do, not just what you have. But anyhow, that's pretty much it. If you guys like videos like this and you want more thought-provoking stuff like this, let me know in the comments below. Also, go ahead and click the subscribe button and hit the little bell button down there next to the subscription. That'll actually have YouTube send you an email to let you know when new videos come out and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to bump up my production and get more videos out more frequently, and I hope to be able to keep this pace up for a while, but I'm not sure exactly how long, so it could become more intermittent is, I guess, my point. Anyway, that's enough rambling for me. As always, I definitely appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button, when you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And don't forget to live the 6 Ps. Proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe, guys.